the anime with the age-old notion that heroes are the guardians of goodness, yet they often face betrayal or demise, either at the hands of their allies or their enemies. Despite their sacrifices to safeguard humanity, some folks fear their unrivaled might, choosing to slander or overlook them. This is the story of such a hero who sacrificed his life for peace, only to pray for tranquility in his next life as he breathed his last. In the next scene, a boy named Brett approaches our main character, Alan, and urges him to go to their father, who is waiting. As they part ways, Brett cruelly mocks Alan, remarking that their father is too kind to raise someone as worthless as him, contrasting his feelings towards having Alan as an elder brother. Although he feels ashamed, Brett believes it is time for a change. In the following scene, the father addresses Alan, reminding him that he was born into their family 15 years ago and has remained at level 1 since then. He expresses disappointment that Alan received no gift from God during the recent blessing ceremony, highlighting that everyone else receives one. Concluding that Alan has only brought disgrace to the family, the father decides to cast him out. Alan is ousted from his family, but he doesn't dwell on the loss. Instead, he embraces his newfound freedom with a sense of relief. Liberated from the burdens of his troublesome family, Alan sets out in search of the peace he craves. Reflecting on his restless past as a hero, he yearns for a calmer existence. Guided by a graceful butterfly, Alan embarks on a journey that leads him to the outskirts of his family's estate. Opting to explore the borderlands, he ventures into unknown territory, eager for a fresh start. Along the way, he pauses by a tranquil river, hoping to sustain himself with a humble catch of fish and longing for a simpler life. Perched atop a modest hill, Alan glimpses a peculiar sight in the distance. It's a young knight named Beatrice locked in a relentless battle with a resilient monster. Despite her valiant efforts, the creature repeatedly rises from defeat. Beatrice recounts how she and Princess Rhys were ambushed by these creatures while traveling. Driven by her knightly duty, Beatrice fights to protect others from the looming threat. Beatrice takes a courageous stand to shield Princess Rhys, urging her to flee for safety. Despite having the chance to escape herself, Beatrice refuses to leave anyone behind in peril. However, she reminds Rhys of the vast difference between their status, emphasizing her duty as a mere knight compared to the princess. Meanwhile, from a distance, Alan observes the intense battle unfolding. Upon closer examination, he realizes that the demonic beasts are targeting none other than the kingdom's first princess, Princess Rhys. Alan, empathizing with Rhys's struggles, draws parallels to his own mistreatment in this life. Rhys, who has faced constant criticism, has always shown kindness to Alan, regarding him as an exceptional individual. In appreciation for her kindness, Alan decides to tap into his latent powers, inherited from his previous life as a hero. However, before he can intervene, one of the demonic beasts lands a devastating blow on Beatrice, incapacitating her instantly. Alan harnesses his lightning speed agility and appears before Rhys, who resigns herself to her fate. With a single powerful strike, Alan vanquishes all the demonic beasts, targeting their vulnerabilities with precision, rescuing Rhys from certain peril. Not content with merely saving Rhys, Alan employs his divine healing light magic to swiftly mend Beatrice's severe wounds, erasing her injuries in an instant. When questioned about his extraordinary ability, Alan attributes them to a recent divine blessing, concealing the truth of his inherited powers from his past life. Accepting Alan's explanation, Rhys and Beatrice proceed to elaborate on their mission in the borderlands. Acting on a divine revelation, Rhys is journeying to Clum Village, and Alan, unencumbered by familial ties, chooses to accompany them and offer his assistance. During their journey, Alan shares his painful experiences of mistreatment by his father, Craig, earning sympathy from Rhys. Upon reaching Clum Village, they notice an unsettling silence enveloping the settlement. Beatrice's keen observation reveals that while the village appears inhabited, not a single door stands open, suggesting an abandoned state. Speculating on the cause, Beatrice suggests that marauding monsters from the borderlands may have ravaged the village. However, Alan's heightened senses, augmented by his presence detection magic, detect no signs of such threats. Their investigation leads them to a gathering of villagers, where an elderly man forcibly expels a young girl named Akira. Despite her diminutive stature, Rhys recognizes Akira as the light prophesied in her divine revelation. Akira initially fails to recognize Lies, prompting Lies to recount their past encounters in the royal capital, where they shared meals together and formed a close bond. Apologizing for her forgetfulness, Akira promises not to overlook Lies again, reconciling with her. Curious about Lies' earlier assertion regarding Akira's significance, Alan inquires about it. Lies explains the concept of a special blessing called Braver, which endows its recipient with the strength of 1,000 warriors, essentially making them a hero. As Akira possesses this unique gift, she is deemed the hero of their generation. Lies, inspired by a divine revelation urging her to guide the light away from darkness, interprets this message as her duty to stand alongside the world's hero, explaining her presence in the borderlands. Gathering at a nearby bar for lunch, Akira elaborates on her mission to slay a dragon. She recounts encountering a frightened young girl on the nearby road who pleaded for her assistance, claiming the villagers intended to sacrifice her to the dragon. Determined to investigate the situation, Akira embarked on her quest. Furthermore, when Akira is expelled from the village chief's house and encounters Alan's group, it becomes clear to Alan that the villagers intend to offer the young girl as a sacrifice to the dragon to gain its protection. He recognizes the desperation of the villagers resorting to such a cruel act to fend off monsters. Despite this, Alan intervenes to prevent Akira from slaying the dragon, understanding that such an action would only exacerbate the villagers' plight. Nevertheless, Akira opts to aid the young girl instead of appeasing the heartless villagers, and both Lies and Beatrice join her cause. Deciding to accompany them, Alan acknowledges that he has nothing better to do with his mundane existence. He expresses his belief that he cannot idly stand by while his dear friends are in danger. As the group approaches the mountain where the dragon supposedly dwells, Akira halts them to devise a strategic plan before engaging in battle. First, Akira settles onto the ground, encouraging the group to brainstorm ideas for defeating the dragon. Each person contributes their own plan, with one suggesting they approach the mountain peak via the main road while the others flank from behind. Alan volunteers to join Akira on the front lines, offering his strength to assist her. However, Akira declines his offer, suspecting that Alan would overshadow her efforts and monopolize the victory. Alan is surprised by Akira's keen insight into his character, considering their brief acquaintance. Akira explains that she can discern an unusual aura emanating from Alan, revealing his concealed power. Excited by this revelation, Akira proposes a sparring match with Alan after they deal with the dragon. With the plan in place, Akira departs first with a confident smile, exuding determination to confront the dragon alone. Meanwhile, Alan, Lies, and Beatrice chart their own course to the mountain peak, scaling large boulders to avoid detection by the dragon. As Akira faces off against the towering red dragon, Alan deduces that the villagers were coerced by his father, Duke Craig of Westfeld, into offering their children as sacrifices. Alan suspects that the Duke is leveraging the dragon's power through these sacrifices, explaining why the kingdom's royal knights haven't subdued the beast. Akira initiates the battle by unleashing a powerful lightning strike spell on the dragon, but to her dismay, it fails to inflict any harm. She realizes that defeating the dragon will be no easy feat. Furthermore, she spots the little girl she rescued earlier lying nearby, understanding that the dragon lured her in as bait. Disappointed by Akira's feeble attempt, the dragon scoffs at the notion that such a weak hero could be revered in this world. Akira faces the grim reality of her impending demise, recognizing the vast power gap between her and the formidable dragon. However, Alan refuses to stand idly by and watch her fall victim to the poorly rendered creature. With a single swift strike of his sword, he effortlessly brings down the dragon, showcasing the ease with which he wields his ultimate skill. As the battle concludes and the dragon's immortal life is extinguished by Alan's decisive blow, his sword shatters, symbolizing the shattered dream of a peaceful existence. Yet, he finds solace in the companionship of his newfound friends, realizing that their support transcends mere admiration for his strength. Upon waking up beside Reese, Alan apologizes for oversleeping, attributing it to the exhaustion from their encounter with the dragon. Curious about the well-being of the other girls, Alan learns that they are engaged in vigorous training, brimming with energy and determination. Moved by Reese's selfless acts of healing, Alan recalls the tales of a traveling healer renowned for her saintly deeds, realizing that the rumors surrounding her closely resemble Reese's own actions. Despite feeling remorse for not sharing this aspect of her life earlier, Reese is comforted by Alan's understanding and support, reaffirming their bond regardless of her title or reputation. Touched by Alan's heartfelt words, Reese's spirits are lifted, and she expresses her profound gratitude. Encouraged by the camaraderie and warmth among them, one of the girls invites Alan to spar with her, prompting him to join them eagerly. The scene transitions to Alan bidding farewell to Akira, who requests to accompany them to the nearest village. Akira expresses her aversion to carriages, preferring to walk, while the little girl embraces her tightly, seeking reassurance from Reese if she's certain about taking care of her. Explaining her attachment to the girl and her desire to accompany her on the journey, Akira reveals the girl's lack of family and reluctance to return to the village. Apologizing for her sword, Akira receives assurance from Alan that its breakage wasn't her fault. He acknowledges her vital role in defeating the dragon and emphasizes that her unique sword belongs with her. Alan declares Akira as the true hero for the little girl and credits her indispensable contribution to their victory. Accepting Alan's words, Akira departs with the little girl, bidding farewell to Alan and his companion. Meanwhile, at the palace, Craig discusses the defeat of the Red Dragon King, revealing their plan to lure and eliminate the heroine. Angered by the Saint's interference, Craig's assistant informs him of the Saint's assistance to the girl, further frustrating Craig. Brett suggests deploying a massive herd of creatures for the next encounter, but Craig cautions against risking more magical creatures. Craig's father intervenes, assuring that they're safe in the border areas and will have ample opportunities to eliminate their targets. He instructs the assistant to locate the elves, vowing revenge on the kingdom once they're found. Back with Alan and the girls, he inquires about finding a blacksmith to craft him a new sword. Reese suggests a nearby blacksmith named Elvira in Granholm, while Beatrice mentions another skilled but eccentric blacksmith named Ilf. Despite apologizing for involving him, Alan expresses gratitude, suggesting that he should be thankful in this instance. Regarding returning to the capital as a princess, Reese declines, citing Beatrice's presence and their successful contact with her father. Later, in a secluded part of the forest, Alan uses his magic to start a fire, much to the delight of the girls. They gather around the fire, and Reese inadvertently falls asleep on Alan's leg, quickly apologizing upon awakening. Beatrice chuckles and suggests that since they're engaged, there's no harm in her sharing a sleeping space with Alan. Reese becomes irritated and informs Beatrice that Alan is her ex-fiancé. Alan intervenes, stating that there's no issue with Beatrice sleeping beside him, which surprises Reese, who then expresses her objection, catching Alan off guard. As time passes, both girls drift off to sleep. Alan reflects quietly, finding solace in the moment, noting that such serene companionship is a novelty in his second chance at life in this world. Recollecting their first encounter under the moonlight, Alan muses on the past, while an apparition of his former self appears beside him, admiring the beauty of the moon. Introducing herself as Risa Distilla, Reese expresses her eagerness to become acquainted with Alan, revealing her belief in their engagement. Alan, taken aback by this revelation, is brought back to reality, pondering that perhaps this tranquil interlude resembles the peace he once yearned for. The scene shifts to morning in Granholm town, bustling with activity in the market square. Alan observes the liveliness of the town, which surprises him given its border location. Beatrice explains that adventurers and wanderers often converge there due to its strategic position. Arriving at the blacksmith's abode, Reese expresses confidence in the blacksmith's ability to forge a perfect sword for Alan. Beatrice finds it peculiar that amidst the typically audible clanging of swords, this particular blacksmith remains secluded, solely focused on her craft. Approaching the door, Alan discovers it open and leads the group inside, where they find an array of formidable weapons. Impressed, Alan remarks on the superior quality of these weapons compared to his own broken sword. Suddenly, they hear Reese scream, and they rush to her side to find Noel collapsed on the ground. Beatrice holds her, explaining that this is a common occurrence. Noel often exhausts herself from overwork and falls asleep. They watch as Reese employs her healing magic to rouse her, prompting Alan to inquire if she uses magic every time to alleviate her fatigue. Reese confirms, admitting that she had forgotten about it due to the long interval since she last used her magic. Beatrice adds that when Noel undertakes the creation of a new sword, she becomes so absorbed in her work that she neglects eating and drinking until the task is complete. Once Noel awakens and notices Reese and Beatrice, whom she hasn't seen in a while, she inquires about the boy, Alan. Beatrice elucidates that he serves as a personal guard for Reese Sama and is known as Alan. Noel then asks if they wish for her to craft a new sword for him. She explains her current workload and the numerous orders she has received, indicating her inability to accommodate new requests. Furthermore, Alan already possesses a sword, albeit a broken one. Alan presents the broken sword to Noel for inspection, who discerns that it has been utilized to its fullest capacity, marveling at how someone could achieve such mastery. She reverses her decision and resolves to forge him a new sword. When Beatrice seeks clarification on whether she intends to craft a sword tailored for a hero, one that only a true hero can wield, Noel affirms, asserting that she will fashion a blade surpassing any in her collection, albeit requiring tremendous effort. Unable to decline, Alan agrees, prompting Noel to declare her immediate commencement of the task before ushering them out of her abode and shutting the door. Reflecting on Vanessa, a woman who once served as a blacksmith, Noel resolves to spare no expense in fashioning a sword that surpasses even the most supernaturally potent blade. Next, we find Alan traversing the forest with the girls. Reese voices her concern about Noel undertaking anything reckless. Alan suggests finding an inn to lodge in until the sword is completed. Suddenly, Melina appears and insists that this should be reported. Subsequently, she converses with Horace, expressing satisfaction with Rhys's presence but raising questions about Alan's role as Rhys's personal guard. Inquiring about Alan, Horace determines they need to investigate further. Beatrice advises him to rest, then proposes to Rhys that Alan visit the Adventurers Guild during their downtime. There, he could potentially sell the materials procured from the dragon for a substantial sum. Alan agrees, mentioning his financial strain since his expulsion from his family. He bids farewell to the girls and departs. Beatrice then confers with Rhys, expressing doubts about their plan's feasibility with only the two of them. While acknowledging this, Rhys insists on minimizing Alan's involvement. The scene shifts to the Adventurers Guild, where Alan is welcomed by the receptionist. He expresses his intent to exchange materials for money. The receptionist examines his items, notably surprised by the dragon scale's presence, deeming it exceedingly valuable alongside the other assorted items. She takes the items to inform the manager. Meanwhile, Alan finds himself conversing with Maylene and her assistant, who express curiosity about the dragon. Horace introduces himself and Maylene, noting her status as an Amazon, a rarity in the kingdom. Despite their imposing appearance, they lack insight into adventuring and seek knowledge from experienced adventurers. Horace queries Alan about his acquisition of the dragon scale, wondering if he faced the dragon alone or with allies. Alan admits to needing assistance, prompting Horace to inquire if the heroine accompanied him, presuming the battle was exhilarating. As the receptionist concludes her evaluation, Horace and Maylene depart, discussing their impressions of Alan. Horace remarks on the necessity of assessing Alan's capability, though he didn't anticipate him being bereft of divine gifts, rendering him inconsequential as an opponent. Noel's expression shifts to one of astonishment upon seeing Horace, but she quickly returns her focus elsewhere. Meanwhile, Horace instructs Maylene to shadow Alan discreetly, emphasizing the importance of secrecy to avoid potential complication. With a nod, Maylene vanishes from sight. The scene returns to Alan, who vigorously tests the sword's capabilities by dispatching numerous monsters. Expressing his satisfaction, Alan praises the sword's quality to Noel. Taking the sword in hand, Noel channels her magical prowess, augmenting its strength and sharpness beyond the ordinary eye's perception. She discerns the sword's condition intricately, and enhances its speed and precision through her magic. Impressed by Alan's skill in wielding the sword without a scratch, she suggests challenging stronger adversary. Leading Alan deeper into the forest as night descends, they find their campfire still burning brightly. Noel remarks on the unusual absence of monsters, speculating that they might have fled in fear of confronting Alan. However, Noel's anxiety surfaces as she recalls her mentor Vanessa's advice to flee upon encountering formidable adversary. Encouraging Alan, she urges him to awaken a slumbering monster and engage it with his sword, her voice resounding in the forest. This brings an end to our episode 1 and 2.